Evening, everybody. It is 6:06 p.m. on this Wednesday evening, and this is your closing comment. It is video number 1941. Not bad. Good year, 41. Okay, so today we had kind of a replay of yesterday. We had the market, which Dow closed up about 65 or just under 0.2%, and that was about two-thirds down on the range again. NASDAQ was up 96. That was the big winner, although it was also from the advanced decline and advancing declining volume not the best performer. In fact, it was 6 to 5 to the downside, being up the most on the day, 0.71. And what that should tell you is that the market is again going back into the very, very narrow list of stocks that are actually moving. S&P was up about 18. 0.43. The Russell was down for the first time in, I think, 6 days, down $2.65, certainly not much, 0.15. And the transports were up $50, 50.51, or 0.34. The action was really kind of mixed. We started out with strong futures that got a little bit on the weak side once the PPI numbers came in a little hot. Uh, Mortgage apps were up 0.6%, which is really, a, you know, just a drop in the bucket considering they were down 6% last week, and they've been down the majority of the weekly numbers coming out to us. Oil was lower by $2.50. Nat gas was about unchanged. Gold was up another $12. Silver up 18 cents, and the Bitcoin was down 690 at 26,700. That's its first move below 27,000 since it went above 28,000. The dollar was up 1 penny, and the bonds were up another 1 5/8 of a dollar. Very strong, close to the high. We sold out the balance of our TLT call position, and we made 277% on it this week. So not a bad play. So the market moved up, and then, as I said, it was like yesterday at 1 o'clock when Rick Santelli came on and discussed the $35 billion 10-year note auction. The market started to weaken. It was a particularly sloppy day in the market, and it was a particularly sloppy day in this auction. To give you an idea, the public did not really participate. The when issued market was a full 2 basis points lower as we went into the auction. And, really nobody felt like paying up for something that was trading lower. So we had that. We also had news this morning, as I've mentioned, that were mostly about biotech. The big news was that Novo Nordisk NVO had phenomenal results with their drug Ozempic in the renal failure area. And what that did was take down a whole bunch took down the dialysis companies and anybody else who was working in that area. To give you an idea, NVO was up, let's see, NVO was 98.84, and that was up 583 or 6.27%, but it had a negative effect on several of the big names. The biggest decline looked like DVA, which is DaVita. They're a dialysis provider, and they fell from yesterday's close at 91.20 to a low this morning of 71.51, and had a slight rally into the close and closed at 75.89. That was down $15.39, or 16.86. Also declining on the news was Baxter, down 12.25%. Intuitive Surgical, ISRG, down 5.39. Boston Scientific, down 5.37. And FMS, which was down 17.57. But it wasn't all bad news for all of those. This was just the most unbelievable one. I mentioned it last night, and I mentioned it first thing this morning, and you'll not going to believe the day that it had. I'm talking, of course, about Tempest Therapeutics, TPST. Tempest had yesterday said they were going to update um, study data for their liver cancer therapeutic. And the stock last night had closed at $1.15, or it looked in late trading after the close, extended hours, $1.15, up 91 cents, which was pretty phenomenal, over 300%. But it continued much higher today, and at the close of regular hours, it was, and I hope you're sitting down, $9.77, up $9.53, for a gain on the day of 3,972%. They released the study on liver cancer. It was incredibly strong. They also adopted a poison pill, as they said, to protect shareholder ability to realize the upside in their stock investment. Also, H.C. Wainwright came out and increased their price objective on the stock to $47. This is a stock that was 17 cents yesterday morning. 17 cents, closed $9.77 today. In any event, very strong, very exciting. It was nice to see it trading. We also had the what looks like the final news on the numbers for the Exxon um, PXD deal, which is valued at $253, but it's an all stock deal. And so there was an added bit of tension about the actual value due to the weakness in XOM. This is their biggest acquisition since Exxon bought Mobil. And so the stock fell on the issuance news from last night's close at 110.45 to a low this morning of 104.83, before rallying a bit in the afternoon to 106.49, down 396, or 3.6%. PXD, understandably, since it's a stock deal, is not realizing all of the upside here. 253 and change, and it closed 240.82, up $3.41, or $1.44. So that's the kind of day we had today. Tomorrow, of course, we have it's Thursday, so it's claims day. So we have continuing and initial unemployment claims. We also have the CPI, not usually as much as of a market mover as the PPI. We also have at 10:30, pardon me, at 10, we have EIA crude inventories, and then a half hour later, EIA nat gas inventories. Actually, that's backwards. Nat gas comes first. Okay, the chart on the screen are the soybeans. And, I mentioned that the grains look like they could bounce here. And The corn was basically unchanged and the wheat was actually up a little. But as you can see, this is a weekly. We are continuing to fall and make new weekly closing lows constantly. This is, let me bring this in a little further so we can see. We are down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row from this high, just over 1410 a bushel, down to today's close at 1252. You notice there are no closes below 1300 on a weekly basis since we moved back above it. So now we are solidly below the 200-week MA. It looks like the MACD is getting ready to roll over again. And as far as I can tell, it looks like the next real support is right here, same place as it was before, where it broke out at 1200 here on its move up, came back and tested 1200 again, no closes under it, one close right on it, 1205 and a half, new high, lower high, break to the downside to 1300, and now has rolled over and broke, but did not close below the 200-week MA, but hit 1200, 1202 and change. And it looks like it's headed right back there. So the other thing is uh, the volume and the open interest are both on the rise. So when you have falling prices and open interest that gets larger, that's new short positions. And that's the same play that we just made in the bonds, in the TLT. The more they build a short position, the much more um, expansive and explosive you get of a rally. So if we were to come down here and hold 1200 again, I would say we would probably get back up to the 1350 area again on a rally, even if it continues to be a short. So we'll keep an eye on that. All right, folks, I'll be back first thing in the morning.